Hey, we're back in our respective places. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Lots of Dayquil in me. The second COVID shot has kicked my ass. Either that, or I got actual COVID in Jacksonville, which is also a possibility.
Right.
Because you know, I Wednesday I got like the worst fever I've ever had. Like my skin hurt to the touch.
Wow.
Um, and I've got this cough that will not go. Like it kept me up half the night. I'm coughing up this really just disgusting looking crap. I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. But yeah, I googled like the cough with the phlegm and the fever and stuff, and
Yeah.
basically the internet was like, you just somehow unfortunately got COVID in the period between when you got your shot and when you were finally like clear of this. So in that 1 2 week window where I had to keep myself safe, there's a possibility I've got the shit. So if I don't feel better tomorrow, I'm just gonna go get tested just to see.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then that's also why one of our listeners, when they had the releases the other day, we were like, you guys do a emergency thing of the dark match. And it was like, there's no way Matt's gonna be available. It's just gonna be me talking to the ether about why Strowman was fired. I'd like that's not really that great.
Oh no, because that was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the day where I was like curled up in a ball, shivering, like sweating my ass off, but freezing at the same time. Like, yeah, that would have been, even if I had gotten on here, it would have been me like in the chair like this the whole time. So,
uh,
but yeah, they, what the hell is going on with these releases?
I don't know if you saw the Cage Side article, which basically was just copying stuff from or just referencing stuff from WrestleNomics. They were talking about how the WWE's locking everybody up to keep them from going AEW to crush AEW didn't work. Not really. I mean, it kind of worked in some cases, but all these wrestlers renewed their contracts at ridiculous, probably appropriate salaries, honestly. Like getting paid $1 million a year to like destroy your body like this. Yeah, you should be getting paid that. But for WWE, it's ridiculous contracts. And since it didn't work, they're just trying to fix it. And they're trying to just release the people that they don't feel like it's worth the money they're paying them for.
It's weird too, though. Like, you know, I was thinking about it in terms of the pandemic. And, right now is probably not the right time to assess the value of anybody to your
Yeah.
company, considering they only have to work one one day a week right now. But you did that to yourself when you locked all these contracts in. But you're going to need people like if you want Roman to be a healthy top guy, he can't work 320 days a year taking bumps.
Yeah.
Like he can't do a full house show schedule. Strowman can do a full house show schedule because if he gets hurt, you've worked around him before. Like
Yeah.
it, I get the point of streamlining, and if they're gonna stick to this, Friday through Monday kind of super show sort of tour where they're only, it's like 100 days out of the year instead of 310 or whatever it is they normally work.
Yeah.
That's functional. You can streamline the shit out of I mean, you're also losing 3 days worth of live event revenue, but I mean,
I
how
mean,
many
I don't know if
people?
you were going to any of these live events, like even on a weekends, they weren't full. So why are they running a show on Wednesday?
Yeah, the last one I went, the last house show that I went to that wasn't Starcade, um, it was still at what used to be Phillips Arena and now is State Farm. The entire top level was closed off. So those starting at $10 tickets were like the back row of the lower bowl at
Well,
Phillips, and it was still only like half full. I think that's the show I sat like second row on the floor, and my tickets were only like $68 or something.
well, yeah. And this whole idea that WWE is selling, it was exciting. It was an exciting story, like because there's just the idea that it could happen was exciting. Not, I don't know if it's a good exciting, a bad exciting. I think it's probably more of a bad exciting, I guess. But um, but it was like there's like that would have been a huge game changer. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with it's a bad, like, it's nervous excitement,
Yeah,
because you got to remember the last time that one of these bigger companies sold, I guess before Anthem bought Impact, was when Dixie Carter bought TNA,
yeah,
and we saw what the hell she did with that. So the last thing we fucking need is some real estate conglomerate buying WWE like it's the fucking Atlanta Braves and just running it into the shitter. Um,
yeah,
I mean, right now, while they've got solid competition from two other promotions, NW Billy Corgan is apparently like super interested in Braun Strowman already. So like he's clearly in the place to make moves. NWA could start to jump up there. Ring of Honor is going to start doing actual shows again. I mean, we're at a point now where like as weird as it is to say it after years of just the entire internet wrestling community complaining about Vince, Vince is the only thing holding the shit heap together at this point. Uh, for good or bad, he's the one that's keeping this thing going. So,
well, and if you think about, Turner, AOL Time Warner owning WCW, and like that didn't help, and they were like, oh, we don't want to own wrestling anymore, and they sold it for pennies on the dollar to Vince McMahon. Like, yeah, it's if they sold it, there's a chance that corporate synergy just drives it into the ground. I mean, Vince could very well and is driving into the ground, but corporation could do even more.
I mean, like
So,
the only truly positive outcome I could see is if the Pauls, Heyman and Levesque somehow were financially capable of buying it, um, because a Heyman Triple H run organization, I see being phenomenal. Really, anything that Heyman gets a massive say in the creative direction of.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's if he's selling, it ain't gonna be for another couple of years.
yeah.
And speaking of Turner and WCW, do you ever wonder if Ted Turner just sits around and is like, why in the fuck did I do that deal with AOL? Like they cost him everything that he loved on his network. Like he loved WCW. They
Yeah.
made him sell the Braves, and that was his baby. Like, did nobody in the boardroom think to look to him and say, Ted, they're not going to let you keep all these things that you love? Like,
I mean, to be fair, he retired a very rich man,
oh,
and he probably
he
could have bought
did.
back some of that stuff, but
Yeah.
he chose not to. I mean, hell, he could have just bought WCW himself and found some other home for it. Like even if it's like not a thing. I'm pretty sure WWE bought them for $1 million. Like
Yeah,
that's
it
not
was it
much at
was
all.
nothing. And
Yeah,
like I want to say he sold the Braves for like a third of what market value should have been.
yeah,
Um so yeah, it was the sell off when AOL came in was just, and to think that AOL had that sort of pull nowadays is it's it's already ridiculous. But
well, um, with Heyman in control, like if Heyman was in control of WWE, I feel like they'd still have Andrade.
yeah, I agree. I think that with Heyman in control, um, they might have to lose an AJ Styles or two.
Hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, he's always been the guy standing behind like your potentially top guys. Like he steps into the
Yeah,
fold, and Roman's the best he's ever been. Cesaro was a Paul Heyman guy. I mean, for all the shit that you can say about Brock Lesnar now, like Brock Lesnar for the years and years when I wasn't watching, and I've gone back and looked at some of it. Brock Lesnar that was invested was, I mean, he was a centerpiece. Like there's no other way to frame it. He's a freak of nature, and Paul Heyman saw it. Just like the basically Brock Jr. they've got at the Performance Center now. Heyman's already on the ground level. He's like, I made sure this guy got signed. He's a Paul Heyman
Yeah.
guy day one. Like he he sees things, and I'm glad they let him just kind of run off at the mouth on talking smack. I guess I'm sure Vince never watches it, and most of the people in the boardroom probably don't either, because
Yeah.
he just goes for it. Um, tell like 2 weeks before they became women's tag champs, he's telling Tamina and Natalia they have no fire. And then they go out on SmackDown the next week and are just obliterating folks. And they just look invested. Like he just knows how to get people to do what they're supposed to do. Um, that A&E documentary with Stone Cold, where he was basically like being in a room with Paul Heyman is the reason Stone Cold Steve Austin inevitably existed. Um,
Yeah.
so it's amazing just the influence he can have in 20-minute interactions with somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
Although I definitely have him not manage the books, because if anything I've heard about ECW is Tommy Dreamer didn't get paid, and there was one point where Tommy Dreamer was thinking about stabbing Paul Heyman on camera for real, because he hadn't been paid in like months.
but then he got his 418th concussion and forgot he was going to do it.
Yeah.
We
Oh
need to
man.
do a dark side with Tommy Dreamer, just where he gets to talk about concussion issues, because
Yeah.
like that guy, his when he tells his stories about concussions and how he forgets his wife's name for like hours on end, it's just
Mm.
heartbreaking.
Well, back to Andrade. He showed up on Dynamite this past week, and I'm gonna enjoy JR attempting to say Andrade's full ring name, because he can't do it. And Excalibur tried to help him, and I commend him for trying, JR for trying, but it's I give it like 3 weeks before he gives up trying to say it. So it was a little
I
underwhelming how he was brought out with Vicky. It was just kind of like, and there was like a weird lag time between her saying his name and him actually coming out. Like it almost felt like some kind of prank.
I kind of thought that he was waiting for them to turn on an entrance music that just
Yeah.
never came. So he was just kind of standing there waiting for it and just kind of had to wing it at that point.
Yeah.
It felt weird. I mean, he's definitely bigger time than needing an introduction from Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah.
It's he's not going to fit into that weird like undercard stable thing that she's got. That's all women. Um, so I didn't get that. At least day one, he wasn't inducted into the fucking Nightmare family. So something went right on that introduction. Um, but yeah, and it seemed like he was issuing a challenge for Miro, which I could be really on board that match.
Yeah. Because we are getting that the triple A Mega Champion uh, title shot against Omega later this summer. I think
Yeah,
it's August, so we'll have that, and that'll be on Triple Mania, and that'll be pretty good. But until then, it'll be great to see him mix it up, and I hope he makes it to New Japan, or New Japan comes to America, and him and Naito kind of team together at some point, because essentially the original, some of the original Los Ingobernables. This is something I always struggle with, making fun of JR, but I can't even make it through that faction name.
all right. You didn't call him Andrade El. He kept getting stuck on the L's.
Yeah. Uh, well, so what did you even check out Raw this week?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Anything
I
good?
still, it, Raw is easy to bag on, and I do it myself. But I keep finding myself turning it on just because Bobby Lashley has been so damn good. I don't understand the weird like stable of women that are following him and MVP around like they're the Godfather. Um, doesn't work for me. But MVP also obliterated a troll on the internet who talked about who said some untoward things about the lovely ladies that follow the what remains of the Hurt Business around. Um, but yeah, I've it's been real fucking weird, man. Since right before WrestleMania, I like the switch flipped for me, and I, I can't stop watching Bobby Lashley. Like, there's something so alluring about him, and I used to think he was so boring. I don't know if it's that he doesn't do promos and MVP does all the mic work. Um, but yeah, I find him wildly entertaining. Um, we also got another seed planted for Team RK Bro. Randy Orton hit a Bro Derek to win his singles match against Xavier Woods this week. Um, the best thing on Raw is easily Matt Riddle following Randy Orton during his entrance and like singing the entrance theme behind him. It's the best part of Raw each week. But yeah, between RK Bro and Bobby Lashley, I can't stop watching. I can't tell you anything that happened other than that Bro Derek, but I just can't stop turning it on.
Yeah.
Oh, Drew McIntyre has his 837th title match against Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. I don't think it's in the cell, but they really haven't put it out there that any of these matches are in the cell yet. And I think there's only like 3 matches so far that are solidified. But if one of them does end up in the cell, let it be Bailey and Bianca Belair.
Oh man, for a second I thought it was like I had a little moment of panic. It was like, is Hell in a Cell tonight? Should we be talking about Hell in a Cell?
No, it's next
It's the
Sunday.
20th, so it's
Okay,
I think it's 2 weeks from today.
next Sunday is In Your House.
Ah, okay, so
Yeah,
that is coming up. We'll catch up and podcast before that show, so we'll take care of that. Anything worth it on NXT? I swore I watched it, and then I just read a recap, and I guess I missed it this week. I'm just still not all together since coming back.
there
Um,
was a Champa sighting, which is always appreciated. Um, LA Knight going into his big $1 million match against Cameron Grimes at In Your House took a loss to Atlas.
Atlas, yes, I saw the clip. I didn't actually watch the show, and for some reason in my mind it's like, yeah, I watched NXT. Yeah, no, that's not.
Um, we're getting Ember Moon, Raquel Gonzalez at In Your House because I think Shotzi's hurt. I'm
Mm.
not sure what happened to her, but I think she's hurt. So Ember and Raquel should be a good one. Um, yeah, wasn't a whole lot of uh, ah oh I'm completely spaced. We had a triple threat match to determine the new number one contender for Karrion Cross in Kyle O'Reilly, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. About 3/4 of the way into this match, all three men got mauled by Adam Cole.
Oh damn.
Just destroyed them. Triple threat rules. This match should have continued. It just inexplicably kind of ended while security was taking Adam Cole out.
Hmm.
So there wasn't a winner. Karrion Cross came out to cut a promo on Adam Cole and told William Regal that he didn't really care who his challenger was. In fact, he wanted all four of them. So we are getting a fatal 5-way match at In Your House for the NXT Championship. Uh, that's
All right.
a big time group of five when you get
Yeah.
Cole and O'Reilly, Gargano, Pete Dunne, and Karrion Cross, who the crowd has just jumped behind in a matter of like 2 weeks. It's been kind of crazy to watch, and I don't know what what kind of, hey, you need to cheer this way or that way the crowd at Capitol Wrestling Center is given. I know that the people in the Thunderdome are told to do certain things.
Right.
They don't. They don't at all. Because I was actually kind of shocked at how many people were like thumbs downing Bianca on SmackDown from Friday night.
Yeah.
Was a little weird. Um, but yeah, I don't know if they're being told to do it or not, but it seems like the crowds have gotten behind Karrion Kross pretty quickly. But that should be a good one. And I think it might be kind of telling if any of those guys are headed to the main roster. Um, who looks like a superstar coming out of that match, and who walks away with the belt.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings us to SmackDown as well. Uh, who, what do you think of Shinsuke's new friend?
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Rick Boogs. Um, I love this guy. I think more so than anything else, I his energy is electric. Him playing the Shinsuke entrance theme is it, like I love it. Um, the way that Pat McAfee reacts to Boogs, it lights up my Friday nights. Well, I guess we'll call it like it is. It lights up my Sunday mornings when SmackDown finally goes on Hulu. Um, the really the Rick Boogs is amazing. Pat McAfee he's the best part of SmackDown. Um, just hands down. If they lose him now that they're going on the road, I'm going to be so heartbroken.
And there's just an electricity on the screen that charisma just like comes through whatever screen you're watching. The first clip I saw was on my phone, and I'm like, this guy is going to be huge, and like not. I mean, Elias is great and all that, but like there's something next level about this kid. And then if you go on his Instagram and he's like doing workouts and stuff while he's like soloing like Iron Maiden, uh the guy is insane and actually like does play the guitar really well, which is a kind of a great combination. Um, and it's a weird combination to put him with Shinsuke, but also makes a lot of sense, and it like shines Shinsuke up like so much more to the level that he should be really, and it's kind of cool having that back.
He Rick Boogs is so electric. He has made I think this is the third week in a row now where he has made a TV segment with Baron Corbin entertaining. So, and
Yeah.
that's not a full blown knock on Baron Corbin. What he does on SmackDown is like it sucks. It's boring as hell. His Instagram is great. Like he just does not give a shit. Like
Yeah.
I need that personality on SmackDown because opposite Rick Boogs, they could be the greatest thing on the show.
And then we got anything else worth mentioning from SmackDown?
The it's a WWE booking thing where you get the same match, several weeks in a row. On this episode of SmackDown, the Usos challenged for the tag titles not once but twice. They were the first 25 minutes of the show and the last 25 minutes of the
Wow.
show. Um, the second time ended with Roman storming the ring and just absolutely destroying both Mysterios. Um, Dominic has had some matches where he's taken some bumps and whatnot, but Roman was throwing him around like a rag doll. He got his introduction to like what life is going to be like real quick on SmackDown. Um, but yeah, they're just continuing to. I mean, Roman is this uber beast. Um, I truly hope that it wasn't some kind of like lazy ass way of getting a Roman Rey Mysterio match on the books. Because at this point, let's be reasonable. Roman is going to absolutely destroy Rey Mysterio, and I don't really want to see that. Um, but yeah, the storyline with Roman and the Usos continues to be entertaining. Roman continues to shine. now that they are just letting him be and letting him and Heyman kind of run with that. Um, Outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot. Kevin Owens lost to Apollo Crews because he got jumped by Commander Aziz. I I'm starting to think they're trying to work that as a potential Hell in a Cell match.
Mm.
Um, but then he also got jumped by Sami Zayn after the match was over. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have like a fatal 82 way for the Intercontinental Championship inside a Hell in a Cell. Um, who knows
A Hell
at
in a
this
Cell with
point?
an elimination chamber inside it as well.
Um, they they're giving Carmella more TV time, even though she's not really in the title hunt. Um, and I don't know if she's just more comfortable with like the character that they've got her now that like Reginald's out of the way and all that. Um, but there's something like electrifying about her when she's on screen now.
Mm.
She's got a lot of personality now that she didn't really get to have before. So that's been kind of entertaining to watch her, sort of get away from the sommelier
Yeah.
and have a bit more personality. Um, and it wasn't this week, but they finally put last week's SmackDown on Hulu. I want to say it was like Tuesday of this week, so
Mm.
I finally got to watch it. There's a segment where Bailey and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are on commentary. I don't know what the hell the match was, but Bailey and Pat McAfee just obliterating Michael Cole was it was the best. If Bailey ever gets hurt, they should just put her at the desk with Pat McAfee, and I think we would be set forever.
Yeah. Every now and then it's crazy to realize like Michael Cole started off his career like reporting in Kosovo when like all those bombings and stuff were happening, and he's just a longtime WWE guy. I mean, I could imagine it. It was like, let me get me the fuck out of here. Like, I don't
Oh
want to
yeah,
I don't want to be around bombs, please. Um, I'd rather be around Baron Corbin. He didn't know that yet, but he'd rather be around Baron Corbin. Um,
makes you wonder just how much ass he kisses though, because everybody else may come and go, but Michael Cole stays the same.
and then finally, let's talk about a little bit of AEW. Obviously, Andrade El Idolo showed up to debut there, and we've got maybe a lot going on there. So we had the Death Triangle versus the Young Bucks, Pac and Penta specifically. One of the things I like before the match is that Frankie Kazarian attacked Nakazawa in his whole kind of elite hunter bit.
The
What were you gonna
one
say?
the one thing that did not work for me
Uh,
was that like an hour later in the program, Nakazawa is fine in that backstage shit with Kenny Omega.
oh, okay,
He's just
that's
sitting there
true.
like nothing happened. I was like, I know nobody caught it because that was probably filmed like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah,
But like, it, I was like, what the? I just watched that guy get the shit beat out of him. Like somebody had to have caught that. But yeah, that I like the Frankie Kazarian just kind of sneaks up, whoops somebody's ass, and disappears.
and
Um,
here's what I like about it too is that I realize that most of the time in wrestling, what we've at least with the WWE and stuff like that, it's always a heel attacking a face like sneaky like that and going away. But I like this kind of revenge, getting a revenge on the heels and just kind of like sneak attack and then go away. I like that it's a face kind of going after a heel, and especially heels that are cheating in every single match that we watch. And I know what they're doing in AEW, but let's just balance a little bit. Let's have a couple clean wins here and there. That'd be nice. Um,
yeah, I mean that because at the end of the day, the Young Bucks are still the best tag team in the world.
yeah.
So let them at least win a couple to maintain that. I mean, unless you've got a direct line and you know you can get Jeff Hardy in 6 months, and like that's kind of your only like because then you can have that match where the guys that can win this clean could take you down. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't you can't have the best bout machine constantly winning because Don Callis is a piece of shit. Um, like it's at the end of the day, you've got to get to a point where these guys do win a couple in
Yeah.
just normal fashion.
I do like that Penta had two masks on, so he withstood the Young Bucks trying to rip off the one mask. I was like, still got on one. Didn't bother him. Uh, so it sounds like we won't see John Moxley, him taking those BT triggers, those multiple BT triggers in the match on last Sunday, is him being on the shelf for a couple months, paternity leave. Makes sense. Renee is about to have a baby any moment now. Um, and yeah, what else? Mark Henry shows up, says he's going to do some stuff. Kind of feel bad for Big Show a little bit, or Paul White, because it feels like Mark Henry is just coming, kind of really taking the job that Paul White wanted. But you know,
Did you read or listen to that interview that I think Mark Henry, it was on Busted Open maybe, that Mark Henry did, where he talked to Vince and he was explaining why he wanted to do this? Um,
yeah,
Basically, his goal is to do more community outreach,
mm,
basically be the chief brand officer like Stephanie is in WWE. Which there's obviously a barrier if that's the job that you want.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. I know he did kind of jump the line, but I kind of think that not Big Show, Paul White. I think he likes what he's doing.
mm.
It's nothing flashy, but I think he's got that same mentor role that Mark Henry's got too. So that's kind of what they were looking for.
And then just a quick rest of the way. Inner Circle's basically doing singles matches with all the different members of the Pinnacle. They're going to keep that going. Um, MMA match. I mean, we'll see what that is, I guess. But and then you didn't have to watch too much because there is two Nightmare Family family matches in the middle of the show and ending the show
I
where
got to skip a lot of this one.
um, a bull rope match, which Dustin Rhodes ended up on top. That was actually pretty decent, but because it didn't involve QT Marshall or Anthony Ogogo for you, so I think that worked out.
I
Um,
did watch that one. There's still always going to be a soft spot for me for Dustin. He will forever be Gold Dust, but
yeah,
I do like when they let him do these bull rope matches, and he takes the big bumps even at his
yeah.
age. So I did watch that one. I skipped. If I explained the TNT app. If you skip past the little lines, you don't have to watch any commercials. So I skipped to the second half of that match when they actually started doing things. But yeah, that one wasn't bad. But I 100%. As soon as QT Marshall pops up on screen, I'm done. I'm out.
One thing I go back to the Inner Circle, I do like the that they were like, oh, look under your chairs, everyone's got a shirt, and everyone indeed had a shirt. Then we got to Britt Baker, where it's like, look under your chairs, everyone has a coupon for a free double cheeseburger, and she didn't have there was nothing under there. So I liked that commitment to the or the callback to the earlier T-shirt thing, and waste of burgers, I guess. And
Yeah,
we're gonna have Nyla Rose as the first real challenger. It looks like so.
it is what it is. I
Yeah,
I thought that whole segment was kind of stupid.
yeah.
Let's be honest here. Um, I read an article right after what show did we go? Double or Nothing. That
Mm,
basically was talking about how for all of their bluster and showmanship and all this about creating women's wrestling, uh, you know, 8 years later, AEW finally created like the top women's wrestler in the world right now. Like it finally exists.
mhm.
Uh, in Britt Baker, like she got over on her own. That whole crowd in Jacksonville I mean, we were in Britsburg. Um,
Yeah,
like, I mean, it was huge. So I mean, they recycled the same fucking thing from last week. Like it was Sheeta's celebration all over again. And why in the hell was Hollywood Hunk Namath in the ring as part of this? Like it was the most random hodgepodge group of people like ever. It should have just been Britt and Rebel, Reba, whatever the hell she is from day to day, and Shivani. Like that
Yeah.
that was fine. Have Nyla come out and like, push her down or something, but like I felt like that was yeah. What was the point in doing it with Sheeta a week ago if you're going to turn around and do the exact same fucking thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
Um, yeah. And
just
then back
wasteful.
to that promo you were talking about with Don Callis and Kenny Omega. They're promising some footage that's going to show like kind of being cheated and all that stuff. It was like, kind of sounds like a little bit like Sami Zayn to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely got a. I don't know which YouTuber they'll bring in to help sell this documentary, but yeah, that it felt a little reminiscent of Sami Zayn's last 6 months. Um, and they're gonna blow the lid off something. Uh, All the footage going on those monitors was Kenny Omega hitting Pac with title belts. So I I don't know. I
I'll
don't
I'll
know.
I'll forgive them though if instead of a YouTube personality, if it's famed documentarian Werner Herzog, who was also the end of the first season of The Mandalorian, or he was the bad guy. I will be happy with that. I could listen to that man talk all day and talk about a conspiracy against Kenny Omega. That's all right. But if Kenny Omega shows up next week in a weird ass pink suit and starts dancing around, then okay, yes, maybe they're copying WWE at that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what this whole parlay between Impact and AEW on Impact this week is going to be.
Mm,
Um, I don't know what's going on. Unless this whole thing is like they're trying to spin it as if all the companies are out to get Kenny and Don. But
yeah,
if that was the case, then Andrade showing up on AEW wouldn't have been to issue a vaguely, stated challenge to Miro. It would have been to go right after Omega.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That's one
And
other
then
thing that I've wondered. Say Andrade wins that AAA match, do we just ignore that on AEW? Um, if he's like in the mid card, that
oh,
that's
I
the
don't know.
that's the guy that beat Omega. I don't know.
I think they can't ignore it. If he wins that AAA belt, I don't think they can ignore it.
Because I
But
mean that would basically line up to where he'd just come at Omega at all out, right?
yeah. And I feel like Omega has to start losing these championships. And I think it has to be the ones that are not the AEW World Championship first. I think it has to be like down to where he only has the AEW Championship left and he'll do anything to keep it, type of thing. I think that's how it has to go. But yeah. And then final bonus, we got Steve Cutler, Forgotten Son on Impact.
Oh my God! Why is Cutler Stevenson in the Impact Zone?
Oh, yeah. All
Wait,
right.
is that it?
Well,
That's his real name, though, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't
I think
know.
he's going by something else, but he had some kind of like jazz music, like vignette, that him drinking whiskey to listen to jazz music.
Oh, so
I don't
we've got a new teammate in beer money.
know. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
But I
heaven
think
help him with
that's
that
it for
guy.
us this week. We've got Takeover coming up next weekend, so we'll come at you with a new episode before then, assuming Matt doesn't die before then. Uh, yeah, knock on wood.
COVID.
All right, see you next time.
All right.